He always called her at least once a day while traveling, sometimes twice or 3 times. He liked to hear her voice and find out what was going on with the kids. Sometimes, while interviewing an informant, he would excuse himself, duck out into a hallway, and call home. He planned to shut off his cell phone while on Kish so Iranian intelligence couldn't monitor it, and he needed an excuse to explain why Chris wouldn't be able to reach him for a day. He came up with a solution. About a week before his departure for Dubai, he told her that the illicit finance group had contacted him with an urgent request. The CIA needed him to take a side trip while in Dubai as part of an important mission for Uncle, and he would be out of contact for a day. The request was so last minute, he would have to pay his expenses out of pocket, and the agency would reimburse him when he got back. Bob and Chris rarely fought, but when they did, it was usually about money. Chris knew as much about the state of Bob's business as he did. She also had more financial sense. She kept a close eye on his books, helping him out by depositing payments from clients and writing checks to pay sources. She knew their family was treading water. They had house payments, big college bills, and weddings ahead. They were also still in a hole from the lawsuit involving the Bank of Cyprus, the assignment Bob took on the success fee basis. A year later, the case's judge still hadn't rendered a decision, and Bob's $100,000 bill remained unpaid. Before Bob could say another word about the side trip, Chris told him he wasn't going to do more for the CIA or advance Uncle Sam another dime until the agency paid him what he was owed. Bob knew she wasn't going to back down. If he was going to meet Dawood Salahuddin, his only option was to make one final pitch to the illicit finance group. He decided to send it to Tim Sampson. As head of the CIA unit, he was responsible for its budget, and if extra money was available, he was the person who could shake it loose. On February 5th, Bob wrote a memo laying out what he could do for the illicit finance group while in Dubai for Global Witness. In it, he abbreviated organized crime as OC and the former Soviet Union as FSU. He didn't specifically mention Dawood or Kish in the memo and asked Anne to forward it to Tim. To Tim, via Anne, from Bob L. Date 5 February 2007. Best wishes from Florida. I'm leaving on 13 February to go to Geneva on behalf of Global Witness to meet with the folks in both the Sûreté de Geneva and the Swiss Federal Police relative to information about possible Russian OC funds being invested in the FSU natural gas industry. From Geneva, again at Global Witness request, I'm flying to Dubai, UAE, to meet with officials there regarding the alleged meeting of Russian OC figures in May 2006 on this same subject. In connection with ongoing research I am conducting for an analytical report on the foreign investments of kickback and bribe monies of top Iranian government officials, an individual with detailed knowledge of this subject, with whom I have been in contact by phone and email over the past year, has agreed to meet with me. This meeting will take place either in Dubai or on an island nearby and should cost about $2,000 to $3,000. I would like to know if I do in fact expend my own funds to conduct this meeting, there will be reimbursement sometime in the near future, or if I should discontinue this, as well as any and all similar projects, until renewal time in May. Please advise me as soon as possible as I leave in 8 days. I hope that last week's papers on clandestine ties between Venezuelan officials and FARC, the 3 Venezuelan banks laundering FARC funds, and Hugo Chavez's brother's racketeering activities were of interest and contributed to your shop's production. Levinson. Over the next days, Chris kept seeing Bob at the kitchen table hunched over the telephone. She overheard Anne's name mentioned and assumed the discussions were about money. When Bob got off one call, he looked happy. He said the illicit finance group had found another $10,000 to add to his contract, enough to just about wipe out his bill. Chris couldn't argue with that.